The Old West is legendary for its lawlessness and the intense gunfights that shaped its rugged history. These deadly confrontations often arose from clashes between lawmen and outlaws, disputes over land and resources, and the pursuit of justice in a chaotic frontier society. From small-town shootouts to large-scale battles involving dozens of combatants, these violent encounters left an indelible mark on American history. They showcase the fierce determination of lawmen to maintain order, the audacious boldness of notorious criminals, and the often deadly consequences of frontier justice. Each of these gunfights contributed to the mythos of the Wild West, highlighting the constant struggle for power, control, and survival in an era marked by brutality and lawlessness. Battle of Bottleneck. On July 20th, 1881, the Battle of Bottleneck erupted in the Arizona Territory when Sheriff John Slaughter and his lawmen confronted the notorious Jack Taylor gang. Known for their string of robberies and murders, the gang was cornered by Slaughter's posse, leading to a violent gunfight. The confrontation resulted in the deaths of 3 outlaws and 1 lawman, with several others wounded. Approximately 10 individuals were involved in the battle. The shootout demonstrated the harsh realities of frontier justice and the deadly consequences of confronting notorious outlaw gangs in the Old West. This violent clash underscored the persistent threat posed by such gangs and the extreme measures lawmen had to take to maintain order, highlighting the ongoing struggle between law enforcement and criminal elements in the untamed West. Gunfight at the OK Corral. The gunfight at the OK Corral occurred on October 26, 1881, in Tombstone, Arizona, lasting just 30 seconds but leaving a lasting mark on American history. The Earp brothers, Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan, and their ally Doc Holliday faced off against the Clanton-McLaury gang. Tensions over cattle rustling and law enforcement disputes culminated in this deadly encounter, resulting in the deaths of 3 gang members, Tom and Frank McLaury and Billy Clanton, while Virgil, Morgan, and Doc Holliday were wounded. Involving about 8 participants, the shootout became legendary, symbolizing the lawlessness and violence of the Old West. The OK Corral gunfight remains one of the most famous in American history, representing the brutal realities of frontier life and the relentless pursuit of justice. Shootout at the Great House Ranch. On October 1st, 1885, in Socorro County, New Mexico, the shootout at the Great House Ranch erupted. Lawmen led by Sheriff Harvey Whitehill confronted the notorious Blackjack Ketchum gang, known for their robberies and violent crimes. The confrontation resulted in the deaths of 2 outlaws and 1 lawman, with several others injured. The violence stemmed from the gang's criminal activities, which included robbery and murder. The shootout highlighted the relentless pursuit of justice by lawmen in the Old West and the deadly encounters that often ensued. This incident marked another chapter in the violent history of the frontier, emphasizing the constant danger posed by outlaw gangs and the brave efforts of lawmen to maintain order in a lawless land. Northfield Bank Raid. On September 7, 1876, the James Younger gang attempted to rob the First National Bank in Northfield, Minnesota. The townspeople quickly armed themselves and confronted the outlaws, leading to a fierce gunfight. The failed robbery resulted in the deaths of 2 townspeople and 2 gang members, while the remaining gang members were severely wounded or captured in subsequent pursuits. The violent confrontation highlighted the bravery of the citizens and marked the decline of the notorious gang. The Northfield Bank Raid remains a significant episode in American history, demonstrating the willingness of ordinary citizens to stand up against lawlessness and protect their communities, even at great personal risk, and emphasizing the deadly nature of bank robberies in the Old West. Battle of Lincoln. The Battle of Lincoln, part of the Lincoln County War, occurred from July 15th through the 19th, 1878 in Lincoln, New Mexico. Involving factions led by cattle baron James Dolan and John Tunstall's supporters, including Billy the Kid, the battle engaged around 60 combatants. The 5-day gunfight resulted in at least 5 deaths and numerous injuries stemming from deep-seated economic rivalries and legal disputes over cattle and land. The battle epitomized the chaos and lawlessness of the Old West, with Billy the Kid's involvement adding to its notoriety. The Lincoln County War highlighted the intense struggles for power and control in the region and contributed to the enduring legend of Billy the Kid and the turbulent nature of frontier justice. Fremont Street Massacre. On December 28, 1884, the Fremont Street Massacre unfolded in Tombstone, Arizona, involving local law enforcement, including the Earp brothers, against a group of outlaws led by the Clanton-McLaury gang. The confrontation was a result of ongoing tensions and law enforcement efforts to control the region. The deadly encounter resulted in the deaths of 4 outlaws, with multiple lawmen injured. The massacre underscored the brutal nature of law enforcement and outlaw conflicts in the Old West, highlighting the constant threat of violence in frontier towns. This incident is a stark reminder of the volatile environment of the Old West, where lawmen and outlaws were frequently at odds, and lawmen's efforts to impose order often led to deadly clashes. 4 Dead in 5 Seconds Gunfight. The 4 Dead in 5 Seconds gunfight took place on April 14, 1881, in El Paso, Texas. Marshal Dallas Stoudenmire confronted a group of outlaws who had just committed a murder. Within 5 seconds, 4 men were dead, including 2 outlaws and an innocent bystander. The quick and deadly nature of the shootout underscored the volatility of law enforcement in the Old West, where life and death decisions were often made in an instant. Stoudenmire's ruthless efficiency highlighted the high stakes involved in maintaining order in frontier towns. This incident demonstrated the deadly consequences of criminal activity and the extreme measures lawmen sometimes had to take to enforce the law, reflecting the swift and violent justice that characterized the American frontier. Battle of Ingalls. The Battle of Ingalls occurred on September 1, 1893, in Ingalls, Oklahoma territory, involving U.S. Marshals and the Doolin-Dalton gang. The Marshals attempted to capture the gang, known for their numerous robberies and violent escapades. The resulting gunfight was intense, leading to the deaths of 3 Marshals and 2 outlaws, with several others wounded. Approximately 14 individuals were involved in this deadly clash. The violence highlighted the significant challenges law enforcement faced in apprehending notorious outlaws and the deadly nature of gang shootouts in the Old West. The Battle of Ingalls underscored the relentless efforts of lawmen to bring notorious criminals to justice and the high cost of these confrontations, solidifying the notorious reputation of the Doolin-Dalton gang. Gunfight at Hyde Park. The gunfight at Hyde Park took place on August 19, 1884, in Newton, Kansas. The shootout involved a confrontation between local lawmen and members of the Miller gang. The violent encounter resulted in the deaths of 4 outlaws and 2 lawmen, with several others injured. Approximately 10 individuals were involved in the gunfight. The violence stemmed from ongoing criminal activities and the lawmen's efforts to restore order. The deadly confrontation highlighted the persistent lawlessness in some Old West towns and the often fatal consequences of attempts to bring notorious criminals to justice. This shootout underscored the courage and determination of lawmen in their efforts to uphold the law despite significant risks, serving as a brutal example of the chaotic nature of frontier life. Gunfight at Muscle Slough. The gunfight at Muscle Slough occurred on May 11, 1880, in California's San Joaquin Valley. It involved a dispute between settlers and representatives of the Southern Pacific Railroad over land ownership. The settlers, feeling cheated by the railroad's changing policies, armed themselves to defend their claims. The confrontation escalated into a shootout, resulting in the deaths of 5 settlers and 2 railroad men. Approximately 15 individuals were involved in the violent clash. The shootout underscored the intense conflicts over land and resources in the Old West, highlighting the deadly consequences of legal and economic disputes. The incident emphasized the lengths to which individuals would go to defend their land and rights, often leading to tragic outcomes, and remains a significant episode in the history of the American frontier. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below.